Hello, everyone. I am Silly Squirrel, and we are ReviveMeBroGames, a gaming podcast where two best friends discuss cooperative games, multiplayer games, and so much more. Master Rein is currently not available, so I will be joined by Xinna and Javier. If you've been watching our streams, you will recognize Javier as one of the people that are constantly chatting. So, welcome, Javier. And Xinna is my brother, and he has been involved in some of the podcasts in the past, especially our Nintendo podcast. So, welcome you two. It's such a pleasure to have you guys.
Woo-woo.
Thank
And
you.
the audience claps.
Thank you. I want some credit. I'm your brother as well.
Yes, that is true. He's definitely a brother from another mother.
That is my bestie right there. That is my bestie.
Yeah, we go a long way. And yeah.
So a little bit of history here. Xinna and Javier are BFFs. They've known each other for a long, long time. And of course, by proxy, I've known Javier for a long, long time.
Like 25 years?
Yeah.
20,
Sorry, I don't
Actually,
know.
25, yeah.
25 years
Like
ago?
25 maybe? Because we were like maybe
Yeah.
7 when we met.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I don't remember the exact age. But
Maybe
yeah,
like-
we were little kids when we met.
We were like 6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say like 25,
Yeah, that
which like,
that sounds accurate, yeah.
So talk about aging each other.
Just a few days ago.
We just met a few days ago, but my God, it feels like an eternity. Anyway, so the thing is, Javier here would spend a lot of time at our house, obviously playing video games, and he'd stay over, and we'd play some Game Boy games and computer games and our Nintendos and whatever we had. Like, Javier was always fun to have at the house. And boy, could he eat. He was a small dude, but he could eat like no other. My God. But anyway, Javier, so...
And I didn't get fat.
No, you didn't, somehow.
no, you have a fast metabolism.
Yeah.
It's going to come back and bite you.
I go to the bathroom as much as I eat.
Well, not all of us are God's favorite.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like...
I mean, you're tall, I'm small.
There
so
you go, yep.
I had to have my team.
a bottomless tummy. So, Javier, before we begin the pod, tell us, what are your favorite games?
Like genre or a specific game?
Specific. And it doesn't have to be like, the first one's
Okay,
this.
so-
It can be any order.
In no particular order.
Okay, I'll do it in order though. Okay, so my favorite game, like my first favorite game, I think would be The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, specifically Twilight Princess. I love all of Zelda games, but the one I like the most is Twilight Princess. From there, I enjoy Final Fantasy games, like all of Final Fantasy games. The most recent I've been playing with Xinna actually was Final Fantasy 14, I think it is,
Mhm.
right? 14, yeah.
Yeah, 14 online, baby.
And the other one would be Resident Evil 4, specifically the fourth one. Yeah, that's the one I like. I know it's a divisive game in the world of Resident Evil, but I really enjoy it.
Why would you say it's divisive?
Because I know, or at least I understand, I've heard that a lot of fans, Resident Evil fans, didn't like the change in like the gameplay or the style of the game in Resident Evil 4. Like it was more focused on action than on scares. And the change of the camera, like the camera is behind you, following you, and not like a set camera on a hallway or something. So I understand that a lot of fans didn't like that, but I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. In a way, it made the game like almost more accessible to some people because it felt very niche with the first couple of games. But I do enjoy that old school fixed camera, scary. It makes it a little more scary, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. It is an effective mechanic, really effective. But that doesn't mean that the other is not scary. But I understand where the people that doesn't like Resident Evil 4 because of that mechanic comes from. But yeah, I enjoyed both. Like I like both styles.
That's cool. That's cool.
And you know what's really cool too is that I think because of the change in style, I think it opened up people's I was more likely to play a survival horror because of Resident Evil 4. And even though like it was an action-packed game, it was still terrifying. And because of that positive
Yeah,
experience,
exactly.
I was able to try out other games, kind of like your Dead Spaces and stuff like that. But I can
Yeah, I was thinking about Dead Space as
yeah, I
well.
can see why people would get upset in the beginning, but like once you play it, it's like shit, this thing is good.
I think it's similar to what happened with the Legend of Zelda. Now with the wild era type of Zelda, like the open world and everything, like people
Breath
that,
of the Wild and Tears of the
that
Kingdom.
yeah, people that have played the old school Zelda games, where you had like your fixed path and the story and everything. It was not as open world.
Mhm.
I'm one of those. Didn't really like the open world mechanic at
Yeah.
first. I didn't enjoy it,
Yeah.
and I had to make myself play like the open world to start enjoying it. Now I like it. I enjoy it. It's cool because I do like open world games, but that was not my Zelda, but once I started playing it and I had some time, playing it. I enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I like the new Zelda as well, and I enjoyed the old school type of Zelda as well.
Okay, so just to recap, so you like Twilight Princess, Resident Evil 4,
Yes.
and then what was the other one? I'm sorry.
Resident Evil 4, Twilight Princess, and any Final Fantasy. I don't know which one is my favorite. Maybe Final Fantasy 4 because I think that was the first one I played. But yeah, Final Fantasy.
Nice. I think
Nice.
first one I ever played was 10. I think it was the same for Xinna, right? It was 10?
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, it was 10 and
Oh.
10-2. I was playing both of them at the same time, which is not a good idea, y'all. Don't play them simultaneously. Beat one and then beat the other one because you're going to be very confused if you do what I did.
Yeah, I remember,
remember.
actually, on topic with the podcast, with the episode today. I remember going to your guys' house and seeing you, Xina, playing Final Fantasy 10 and
Yeah.
10-2. And I was like, is that Final Fantasy? What is it? Because I started like very late playing Final Fantasy games, and I had just played like maybe four and I think
Mhm.
six or two, I think, I don't remember. But yeah, it was like a huge difference. And I was like, whoa, those graphics looks amazing. Graphics,
Yeah,
it's
PS2
quite the
graphics back in the
jump.
day.
That is true.
Yeah, and it was like, what? And I remember I had like my reservations, the same thing we just talked about. Like, really, that doesn't seem like Final Fantasy. I'm not sure. I remember watching you play it, and it looked so cool. And it was like, wow, okay, this looks cool. This is awesome.
Yeah, it was a really fun game. I wish I was smarter when I was younger because I was not playing Final Fantasy X correctly, and I was getting stuck after every boss fight. I was
Dude.
like just hitting walls, and it's because I was not training my characters correctly. Like I
Mhm.
just wasn't leveling them up like I should have, and I never beat it when I was younger. And so recently when it came out on the Switch, I like bought it up and actually started playing it, and I'm like, wow, I was an idiot when I was a kid.
Dude, it's hard.
Hey, I mean, when I watch you play, you look like a pro to me when I watch you play. So
So those are fantastic games, and a lot of them do bring back many memories. But before we keep going, PSA for the pod. We are available anywhere you get your podcast. If you listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star review. It's free and it helps us support the pod. Plus, we're giving away free merch. All you got to do is send us a screenshot of your 5-star review to our email or social media with your name and address, and we will send the goods wherever you are. Also, remember, check out our YouTube page.
The stickers are cool.
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I can testify. I'm still waiting for my shirt and my car, my R&B Bros car.
Right. Also, remember to check out our YouTube page with our latest streams and, of course, the pods. I know. I owe you a shirt. I owe Xinna a shirt too. Not a lot of people have the shirts. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'll definitely send.
There are like two shirts
There's
right? Like only 2 shirts.
4. Master Rein has one. I have one.
My heart.
Our friend in Wales has one, and Pro Spiral has one. So I need to send you 2 some shirts.
That's cool.
Yeah. Our good friend in Wales, that one took a while to get to him. But anyway.
Shout out.
Yeah, for reals. Shout out to Vendrail and Pro Spiral. So today we're going to talk about co-oping in a third world country, specifically where we're from, Nicaragua. Back in our day, the internet was still quite new, and the only real way to play with friends was to either go to their houses and play with another remote or go to a cyber cafe. And for today's topic, I thought that who best to talk to, besides Master Rein, about this stuff than with Javier and Xinna, who we spent a lot of time together playing either co-op games or just a single-player game altogether, and enjoying that camaraderie and involvement. And I really want, what I really want is for people to see that even though today it's like cooperative gaming is much more accessible than it's ever been, there was a time where it was more about the person literally next to you, not the connection that's going from one end to the other. So anyway, I'd just like to start the conversation with when you think cooperative gaming, especially between you two or us three, what is like a core memory that comes to mind?
Well, before I say anything, just for context, Nicaragua is like 4 countries under Mexico. For those of you who don't know, so it's in Central America.
The center of Central America.
If you go further south
America.
from Mexico, you'll eventually get to Nicaragua. Yeah.
Further south. Yeah.
It's not in Africa.
It's not in Africa. I've been asked that before.
Same.
Me
and
too.
Yes, we did have internet.
Yes.
Yeah, without using coconuts.
Not good internet, but we still had it.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because nowadays there's such a big culture on an online Nowadays there's a online culture of streaming, and watching streamers and stuff. And if you think about it, that's kind of what we were doing when we were younger. Like one of us would play something and the other one was like watching and commenting and just kind of interacting.
Whoa.
Like, we were doing like in-person streaming.
Whoa, that's a really good point. I haven't thought about it that way. Wow.
Holy shit. Yeah.
It's probably why streaming is so like comforting to us.
Yeah, actually, when I talk to my friends and I tell them that I watch YouTube, I watch a lot of YouTube, and what I watch on YouTube, it's like people streaming games. And when I tell them that, and they give me the look, like, what? I tell them like, yeah, it's what I used to do back in the day when I was a kid. I used to visit friends at their houses and watch them play, or they come to my house and watch me play video games. So yeah, that's a good point, man. Wow.
It's like we almost we do that now, but it's really cool that like that's kind of where we started with it. Silly Squirrel, to answer your question, one of my core memories of playing video games with Javier was when we played Mario Kart Double Dash for the Nintendo GameCube together.
Wow.
Yeah, we so in Mario Kart Double Dash you could do a mode where one person drives and the other one takes care of like doing the items and stuff, and together you drift, right? And it also had a mode where you did every single course in the game, right? It was like a multi-cup course. And so Javier and I one time, like I was staying over and we just got in our pajamas and like sat in front of the TV, and we spent a good couple of hours just trying to get first place on the all cup round. And it sparked an inside joke.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, I was waiting to see how you explain the inside joke, because I don't know how I would explain it. Yeah.
I don't think we can explain it, just because like
yeah, it's just difficult than in Spanish.
Yeah. Oh my god! But yeah,
Uh,
we did that. It was that was like a core memory for me.
Interesting.
for me, I don't know, man. Like one of the first that comes to my mind is the time uh, there was like a party at your parents' house, and I was there. My parents were there. Like a lot of friends
Yeah.
were there, and I remember that we started playing Half Life. Right? Was it what? Or no, it was it Half
Maybe,
Life, or
yeah.
was Tomb Raider?
Oh, Tomb Raider, probably.
Yeah, I think Tomb Raider. Yeah, and we were stuck. Like the three of us were playing. Like I think you were playing maybe Silly,
Hmm.
and Xinna and me were just like helping you out, like trying to figure out how to solve the puzzles and everything. We were stuck on a puzzle. Like we tried everything, and then I don't know why. I honestly don't know why, but I thought about asking my dad. Like my dad, out of everyone that was there, like my dad is not a gamer.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he has a history of playing video games, and he's an old man. So um, I went, I went and I asked him. I remember he coming to the office at your parents' house where we were playing, and he told us like, "Have you tried doing this?" And we're like, what? And you tried it, and that solved the puzzle. And we were like, whoa, you're so smart. And that was really funny. That was really funny. I have other memories, but that one was really funny. Like Totakeke, if you guys want to
Oh
talk
my
about
god.
that, I'm not proud of it, but that's like a trigger word in this group.
I am
Totakeke,
seething.
yeah, from Animal
um
Crossing.
so Totakeke is, KK Slider in Animal Crossing. And Javier and I were very into Animal Crossing, but Javier was like really, really into it. To the point where one time he was gonna stay over at my place, and we were like on our way to back home from picking him up, and he was like, "Actually, can I go back home?" And I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, today's when KK Slider comes out, and I like need to do that." And I was like, "What?" And we took him back home, and I was so upset with him because I was like, "We were supposed to have a sleepover, and you and you ditched me for a dog with a guitar."
I chose Yeah, I chose a game. That's how I like video games, everyone. I chose a game over my friends. So, yeah, not proud of that one, but yeah.
No, no, but honestly, you're onto something because I've done that as well. Like I've been like, "No, I'm going to choose video games over like seeing my friends."
Yeah, sometimes you have to make hard choices.
Sometimes you need to make those sacrifices.
And that's the thing, like because back in the day, you didn't have um like you couldn't connect like to your
Yeah.
own account, or have like your Nintendo Switch with you when you were visiting your friends. Like I had to be at my
Mm.
house with my it was on GameCube. The Animal Crossing was on GameCube.
Mhm.
I had to be at my house with my GameCube to play that game and to get the item that I was trying
Hmm.
to get. So nowadays it's just easier, like you can take your Nintendo Switch to your friend's house if you're staying over, and you can play there and you can connect both switches, and so yeah, that's part of the related to the topic.
Yeah. It's kind of awesome how that accessibility has really changed with especially with Nintendo making the Switch. And that's the whole idea of the Switch itself is like to be able to take it wherever and like play whenever you want and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, but also accessibility is something that like in Nicaragua you didn't really have it when we were growing up. Like we didn't have access to video games the way we do here in the States and the way we do now. Like Nicaragua, it's a third world country, so like buying video games there was like if a game is $60, $50 here, it was like $120 in
Oh my
Nicaragua,
God.
just because of like import tax and stuff. And so,
Hmm.
um, whenever we wanted to get video games, we had to either wait till one of our parents traveled to the States and like write it down specifically which game it was and like show them a picture of the art and stuff.
This is the
And
box.
pray to God that pray to God that they were gonna get it right. So it was either that, kind of write it in a letter and hope for the best, or you had to do what we ended up doing with our PlayStation, which was pirating games. There was a huge industry in Nicaragua for like modifying PlayStations and being able to buy pirated games for like $1 per game.
Yeah.
And so that's how I was able to play things like Final Fantasy. That's how I came to play Okami, which is like my favorite game of all time. And it was all because like we were pirating games because that's what we had access to.
And also I think I will say with the now that games are digital and all that, like that's of course has really made it really difficult to do a lot of this nowadays. Like
because even now here in Nicaragua, you can. I still live here in Nicaragua. Everyone. So yeah, you can now just buy the games like online, the digital game. You can buy it for the same price that you would get it physically or digitally in the U.S. So yeah, that has made it way easier and not as needed to pirate like your or to modify your console to play pirate games.
And
but that's what we had to do.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier like cyber cafes. Like sometimes a lot of cyber cafes had all these computers that had all these games installed. That
Age of Empires,
exactly,
man.
Age of Empires, Diablo 3, Warcraft, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty,
Age of Mythology.
Age of Mythology.
And like a lot of these games where it's like, well, I'm not going to carry my 20-pound heavy computer to my friend's house. I mean, we could, and we did a few times, but you wouldn't necessarily do that because probably the computer was probably your dad's computer. And so if you wanted to go play with your friends, like computer games, you either like you had a laptop or you meet at a cyber cafe, and you pay like $1 for like an hour, and we would usually go every other weekend, sometimes once a week, to go play 2 to 3 hours and all play together. It was a hangout. It was a thing to do like here in
exactly.
like the same as going to watch a movie or let's meet up at the bar. It was like that was what we would do. We're like, hey, let's go to the cyber cafe. Yeah, let's do it. And send text messages to all your friends, and you meet there, and you make it into a big party, and you just hang for 2 hours. That's how I got into Counter-Strike, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man! Counter-Strike was a common game you would find in cyber cafe.
Yeah.
And it was also a thing like for my mom, for example, like if she was doing errands and she had to like if she was running errands and was going to do that for a few hours, she could just leave us at the internet cafe and she would know that we were just going to be there. And she could do her own thing and kind of like do it at peace without like two boys just kind of like running behind her.
For reals.
But I mean, she knew where you guys were, and you were not doing drugs.
Because
that was better.
Yeah.
No, and we would stay in the same spot.
She's like, "Oh, my kids are fucking nerds. I'm gonna tap into it."
Yeah, my mom was smart that way.
I'm gonna take advantage of that.
Yeah, because sometimes she'd be like, you know what, just go.
No, and also because like back in the 90s, like the computer was it was less common to have like your own personal computer. The computer was like of the house, like that's the house computer. It's not like your computer or your brother's computer or even your dad's. Sometimes I mean, it was probably your dad's because he bought it, but it was like the computer of the house. So it was not like if like you could take the computer even if you could because it was big. But even if you could, like you would leave the whole other people in the house without a computer.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like not a common option.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's true. That's how it used to be. It was every house had like that one computer that was the main one for the house, and like if you and your sister had to write a paper, then you would have to race each other and see who got to the computer first to write their paper.
Yeah.
God, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, and if you had a laptop, especially if you were like a young person, if you had a laptop, at least when you guys when we started to grow up and you guys started to go to college and everything, and you went by Nicaragua and vacations and everything, and you guys had your
Yeah.
laptops. I mean, you were like, at least in my perspective, like, whoa, you guys are cool because you have your own laptop, you know. So yeah, and I remember when I got my own laptop, it was like, yeah, I'm one of the cool boys now.
It's like, no, I can play Half-Life.
I can play Half
Yeah.
Life.
You know,
Wherever I go, wait a minute, I need internet.
you know, for me, like one of the things I really miss when it comes to cooperative gaming back then was just sitting and you said this earlier. It's just sitting and watching someone play and being part
Yeah.
of that experience. And I think
Mhm.
like one that comes to mind for me was one of our cousins. He once he brought his PlayStation and a few of his games. He played on Onimusha 1 from beginning to end that afternoon. And I just watched as we played along. Like he would like explain things, and I would like make suggestions for puzzles and stuff. And like I did not play that game for a good 10 years. And then I finally got my hands on it, and I was able to beat it so quickly, just because I remember exactly what my cousin did. I still
Yeah.
remember. I still remember. I know it's a short game, but I beat it in 3 hours 48 minutes. I will never forget that number because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't
Wow.
believe it that I beat it that quick.
Yeah, that's pretty fast.
Yeah, and it was almost like
Yeah, one of the,
Mhm.
yeah, like one of the beauties of playing co-op back in the day was just like having this time with your friends, you know, like spending this time with your friend there, like enjoying each other's company, and I mean, it was an excuse and like the perfect excuse to meet up with your friends or to spend some time together, get some
yeah.
snacks, or just to hang
Mhm.
out. And even
Yeah.
if it was like both of you playing, or one playing and the other one watching the game, I mean, it was super cool. It was super cool. I remember one of the weekends I stayed over at your guys' house.
Mhm.
We woke up in the morning and you had your Wii U, Xinna,
Mhm.
and you were playing I forgot the name, The Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker. You were playing
Oh,
Wind
Wind
Waker.
Yeah,
Waker.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I had already played that game on my GameCube, but I remember it was like a different experience on the Wii U because you had like the pad, and the pad was like your map, and that was so cool. And I remember watching
Mhm.
you play it, and even though I already knew the game, I already beat the game. It was super cool for me watching you play that game, cause I don't know, I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed it watching the game that I like, a game that I liked, and spending some time with a good friend at that moment. So yeah, that was really
Mhm.
cool. And I remember you guys even worried about me, especially your sister, worried about me that you guys were playing. I was just watching, and I remember you guys asking me like, "Are you sure you're okay? Do you want to play? You're just watching." And I was like, "No, no, I really enjoying just watching you guys play. It's really cool."
Yeah.
and you know it's
I remember that. I taking it back a few years was you
Mhm.
silly playing through GeForce
Yeah,
Gemini,
yeah.
and I was watching, right? And then once we found out that you could play cooperatively with the second player being Floyd, um I took the controller and like that's how I played GeForce Gemini. Like I didn't play GeForce Gemini by myself uh until recently that it came out on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Mhm.
Um but before that, like my like and I love that
Mhm.
game, but before that my experience with that game was like watching you play
Mhm.
it and then like playing as like the fucking little robot.
Yeah. I remember too that like was his name Floyd?
Floyd,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was like what, a third into the game, and all of a sudden, like, bam! Now you can play co-op. And then, spoiler alert: the ending of the game, uh, basically is Floyd. Like the last part of the game is Floyd flying through a maze. So I thought it was really cool that, you know, if you had a friend playing with you this whole time, like they have a chance to now affect the story more directly, you know. And I,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you were the one that did the ending, or if we died, we kind of went back and forth.
that last.
But it only felt right.
Yeah, I think we took
Yeah.
turns.
Because we kept dying.
Yeah, I think we took turns, but then I well, yeah, I was like a child. But yeah, I was the one who did it, and that was a really cool thing, because yeah, it not only did it have the second player actually do something really important in the story, but also like the game actually kind of primes you with it, because there are like a few sections where you have to do something similar.
Yeah.
But it's like obviously a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. That last maze was really
Man,
hard.
I remember.
Javier?
Yeah.
I remember a lot of games playing with you guys for the first time. Like I remember, now that you mentioned Jet Force Gemini, I remember like all these Nintendo 64 games. Like for example, the first time I ever played Super Smash Bros. Was with you guys in your Nintendo 64. With you guys, so it was super cool.
Yeah.
It was really nice, and I just remember the control and the joystick. It was all loose, all loosened because of all the times you guys have played already. And also I remember watching you guys play Kirby and the Crystal Shards. What's the name? Is that the name of the game?
Kirby and the Crystal Shards.
Oh, what a
Man,
game.
what a cool game. I remember watching you guys play that and it was like blown away. The game looked so cool, and I remember you guys would let me play when you guys were not playing, like play on my own and start like my own playthrough. And man, it was so cool, super cool game. Yeah, and also I remember playing with you guys because I know you guys really like this game. Is what Conquer Bad Fur Day.
Yes.
I remember, yeah, the like playing the battle. I don't know if it was the battle mode or something, or watching you guys play, or with you, silly, like playing Def Jam. That was really cool, man.
Wow.
I really enjoyed when we played like Def Jam.
Dude, which reminds me, just last night I bought Conquer Live and Reloaded on Xbox.
Nice. Oh my god.
Really? Have you tried it?
Yeah, I tried the multiplayer actually, and I played the multiplayer, and you can play with bots, and it is very different, but it looks so damn good. It looks gorgeous. Considering this came out for the original Xbox, it looks gorgeous. I just couldn't believe it. I could buy it right there. It was like, oh, you can buy it, $10. I'm like, seriously? And I bought it and I downloaded it and I was playing it last night. It was fun fact. Our sister actually has a physical copy of Conquer Live and Reloaded and the Nintendo 64 game.
No, and now that the new Dragon Ball game is just around the corner, that remind me, like playing with you, silly, like Tenkaichi Budokai, man, at your house. That was the first time I ever played a Dragon Ball game, and it was so cool. I remember.
Oh my god, Budokai, yeah, Budokai Tenkaichi. I still have that Budokai game with me.
Those games were fun.
Yeah, and you know what's a cool thing that I never realized? Sorry to interrupt you. A cool thing was that if you have never been able to watch all of Dragon Ball Z, because back then we couldn't stream the episodes, we had to like watch it one episode per day. Playing the games allowed you to experience like the first 3 sagas. Yeah,
the story
in like a more of a. It was our version of streaming where it's like I want to see what came next because it was a way to watch the show. So when you had people over, like Ramoncito, our cousin, and a few other people, they would come over and asked us to play the campaign because you'd basically watch the show that way. And something else I wanted to touch is you were the first person, Javier, that had, or the first person that we knew that had a Game Boy Color. And because you had a Game Boy Color, which I'm pretty sure that's also how we became friends, but maybe my memory's playing tricks with me, but you were also the first person that I knew that had Pokemon Yellow, was it? Or was it Pokemon Blue?
I think it was Blue, because I had both, but the first one I had, actually, my first ever Pokemon game was Pokemon Gold.
Oh, that's
on my Game Boy. Then I got Blue, and then I got Yellow. So any of those three.
So I just remember that we played a lot of Pokemon with you, and even though you had your set, your set Pokemons and stuff, like I would sometimes take turns training your Pokemon, and Javi would look, or we would watch you play against the Elite Four.
Yeah.
So a lot of my experience with Pokemon wasn't necessarily by playing it; it was by watching you. And even though I got a chance to play it,
Mm-hmm.
I never I never had like my own Pokemon till I think I started my first Pokemon game at Sapphire. Once we began, I think it was through emulation. But in terms of cartridge, yeah, I think it was Sapphire and the Game Boy, and emulation. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it was Ruby and Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first one that I really played. That's where I caught my first shiny, which was a shiny Wurmple, and it became a Dustox, and that's why Dustox is my favorite Pokemon.
Oh, nice, interesting. I didn't know that.
Nice.
Yeah, and I remember you guys used to buy the Nintendo Club Nintendo magazine.
Oh yeah, the magazine.
And it had like a lot of tips for Pokemon games, and I didn't have the magazine, so it was really cool, like going to your house and playing the game, or letting you guys play with my Game Boy, and in the meantime I was reading the magazine and learning about all these tips and new Pokemons and news and everything, so it was really cool.
Yeah, no, for reals. And I think the first copy we ever bought of that was a Perfect Dark one. And it was a preview of Perfect Dark, or they were covering a preview of Perfect Dark. And the reason we bought it was because it had the cheat codes for GoldenEye. And I begged my mom to buy it for us.
Oh, yeah.
Because it had cheat.
Oh, my God.
Like the big head.
La Unión, brother, ahí en Guanacaste.
I remember
you guys had GoldenEye, right?
We did. We would play GoldenEye together. Silly mentioned something that I wanted to touch upon. That it was like, we would pass the controller around, where if, let's say Javier, you and I were playing Smash Brothers, and I beat you, then you would give your controller to the next person, and we would just kind of cycle around.
Yeah.
And that's what we
What
would do with
we
GoldenEye
know in Spanish
as well.
sacarrín.
Sacarrín, yeah.
Yep.
Where it's like we had we had more than 4 people hanging out, and so it was like, all right, like you died first, like all right, give up your controller.
Yeah, that was cool. That was and in the meantime, you were just watching your other friends play.
You're watching. You would go get a soda.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it was so like such a good time that I remember that like in the future, like when you Javier when you Xinna had your Wii, for example, and you had a lot of multiplayer games like Mario Party or WarioWare. And I remember that when you came to Nicaragua and your friends, your friends that were still here in Nicaragua, knew that you were here and you invited us to your house. We knew that it was going to be like a video game moment session, playing like multiplayer games, and we were all in the living room playing and enjoying, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's like one thing I always love doing with people is like playing multiplayer games, playing party games. I think it's just so much fun. Yeah, it's just cool how like consistent we've been with it.
Yeah, I remember there's even a picture we took one of the times you came back to Nicaragua on vacation, and you brought you bought your Wii. I think it was your Wii U. I don't remember, but you were leaving. And we were sad that you were leaving because you were taking your Wii with you. Not because you leaving, but because you were taking the Wii with you.
There's a picture. Yeah, there's a picture of you hugging the Wii U and crying.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was going to miss it.
Oh, man, good times.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, it's one of those things where, we didn't get a PlayStation until someone traveled to the States to get it. I didn't get a Wii until we were in the States, and I went to like 17 different Walmarts to try to get it. Like, we didn't have access to so many things because of where we grew up, but like we had that privilege of being able to travel, and that our family was able to travel at least. And it was cool to be able to be like hey, I have these party games, like come over to my house, let's play video games. It just really, it made it fun. It made it even more fun because not only were we getting to play video games and stuff, but we were also like kind of sharing that. Because you loved it, you were excited, and I know for a fact that you had like so many different files
Mhm.
in different games that you were playing.
Oh yeah, true. I had my own files, like my save files. True, true,
Yeah,
true. Wow. And I remember I used to choose like the very last
Mhm.
like space in the memory card just to make sure that it wasn't confused. It didn't get confused with your
yeah,
guys' save files.
and that nothing was like deleted on accident and stuff.
I mean, in those days, I felt super privileged to have the opportunity to have my own save file on one of your guys' games because it was a game that I didn't had, and I played when I went visiting, so it was really cool.
Hmm.
And that was when memory cards existed because there were other games or games that allowed you to have more than one save file
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Yeah.
there were other games that didn't allow you that. So if you guys would let me play a game that I hadn't before because you had it and I didn't, I remember I just would play like I don't know 1 hour 2 hours of the game or maybe less what I could, and then I knew that I had to start over the next time. But even though that was really cool, because beside playing the game and enjoying the game, I went and visited you guys and spent time with you. So that was
Hmm.
really cool.
I mean, I think it's because of video games that we became friends in the first place, and like 25 years
Yeah,
later, still going strong.
totally.
Nah, man, like
Oh
it's
no, it's fine.
just
Sure,
thinking
don't
back
worry.
a lot about these games and the stuff that we used to play and just those little memories. Like it I that's the reason why Revive Me Bros exists. It's because we want to get people together and have those moments together. Like we had that with Pro Spiral, we've had that with a few other people, and it's where it's like you come play with us and let's just have some fun. And the more I think about it, the more it's like, okay, well, at one point there weren't a lot of co-op games coming out, and now you feel like every other game is a co-op game. And
Yeah,
I wish
battle
I could
royale.
review a lot of these. Yeah, I wish I could review a lot of these, but uh, it's it's just been really. I mean, it's been difficult, of course, to get to play a lot of these games. But like, for example, Space Marines right now that just came out. It's a co-op game. They made it thinking of co-op, and it is so much fun. And it's like wow. And then another co-op game is going to come out next month, and then another one's going to come out next month. Oh, it's like there's no time to play anymore. But it's cool, that the gaming as a whole is embracing your Hell Divers, your
Yeah,
Space Marines, your cooperative games, and even though they don't have like a, let's say, a story mode, it's the ability to play something that is like at least there's an objective or characters, or like the Sons of the Forest, where you can play like the story, where you can get your friends and play together.
the story are the friends you make along the way.
Because at the end of the day, too, like a game can be shitty, but as long as you play with your friends, it's a fun time. Like Lethal Company is not a phenomenal game in terms of technical aspects, but because we play it together, it makes that game much more memorable. And
Yeah.
it still
Exactly.
scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, it's scary
Oh my
sometimes. Yeah,
god.
Oh, Lethal Company. Yeah, I would be down to playing that. By the
Well,
way.
it's
me too, man.
October.
Definitely. I'm waiting for the day.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's
I'm
do a
waiting
spooky
for the
episode.
day you guys say that we play.
Okay, we'll make that sooner rather than later. Thank you so much, y'all, for joining us today. This was a lot of fun, guys. I really appreciate your time. Man, you took me down some really crazy memories. Just hearing you two talk,
Yeah.
it's like wow, that was cool. That was cool. Javier, again, thank you so much, and thanks for always watching our streams, man. And Senna, we'll do a Nintendo podcast soon.
Yeah.
There's been like a
But
ton of
again,
Nintendo directs since the
I
last one,
know. Oh my God.
since the last podcast.
We didn't do a podcast on the last Nintendo Direct, and that was like one of the best directs ever. Period.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's
I know. It's
okay.
time. Time has been so hard.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm still reeling about that one. It was just so good. But also, thank you for having us, and thank you, listener, for hearing us talk about playing video games in a third world country and like how we grew up.
Yeah. Thank you guys. It was an honor for you to have me here. It was an honor for me to be here. I really enjoyed the conversation on the podcast, and yeah, thank you, man.
Anyway, if you like this podcast, go give us a follow on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate y'all. And remember, never stop reviving. Peace out.